Good day, I'm Theodore Henry, and this is your JIS News for Thursday, June 3, 2021. The Jamaican economy is projected to grow within the range of 7 to 9% during the April to June 2021 quarter. Director General of the Planning Institute of Jamaica, Dr. Wayne Henry, gave the projection during the PIOJ's virtual media briefing on Wednesday. He says the projected growth will be dependent on the relaxation of some COVID-19 containment measures and increased domestic demand due to an expected expansion in employment levels.
Preliminary data for the April to June 2021 quarter has indicated some positive movements which support this projection. Airport arrivals for April 2021 totaled approximately 83,000 visitors compared to none recorded in April 2020. Water consumption for April 2021 grew by 2.2% relative to April 2020.
For the overall 2021-2022 fiscal year, it is expected that the economy will grow within the range of 4 to 8%.
In addition to the factors expected to influence the April to June 2021 quarter, the performance of the fiscal year will be influenced by the gradual relaxation of measures globally that restrict the movement of persons as countries seek to attain herd immunity through continued rollout of vaccination programs. This augurs well for the world economy and a strengthening of external demand for Jamaica's goods and services.
Still, despite the relatively strong economic performance anticipated for this fiscal year, PIOJ's Director General says a full recovery to pre-crisis levels is not anticipated until the 2023-2024 financial year. In other news, the Criminal Justice Suppression of Criminal Organizations Amendment Act 2021 was passed in the House of Representatives on Tuesday with 4 amendments. The changes specify additional offenses for activities in which criminal organizations are engaged, as well as an increase in the number of offenses under the Act. It also expands the list of aggravating factors to be considered when sentencing persons convicted of certain offenses and improves the trial procedures in order to protect the identity of witnesses for connected matters. National Security Minister Dr. Horace Chang says the amendments to the Act, commonly called the anti-gang legislation, will provide additional support to the work of law enforcement in interrupting and undermining organized criminal activity.
I wish to acknowledge the members of the Joint Select Committee and the technical team from the Ministry of National Security, the AD's Attorney General's Chambers, and the Office of the Parliamentary Council who working so collaboratively to ensure that this amended bill had a level of rigor and relevance to effectively disrupt and dismantle gangs.
The latest statistics from the Jamaica Constabulary Force show that there are 379 gangs in Jamaica. Of this number, 262 are considered active gangs, which reflects an increase of 5% over 2019. The Ministry of Justice is now using animation to offer therapeutic intervention to children who are victims of crime. The ministry recently launched its animation bundle, which is comprised of 8 short films that provide lessons to help children cope with violence and life-changing trauma. Justice Minister Delroy Chuck says the intervention will provide support for children in vulnerable circumstances. He says the animation films are already being shown on electronic screens in some areas across the island, and efforts are being made to distribute them more widely. It's an initiative of the ministry's Victim Services Division, which has the responsibility of providing psychosocial support for victims of crime and is dedicated to the advancement of victims' rights, including those of children. The Tourism Enhancement Fund, TEF, will be building more parks and recreational areas in tourism-dependent communities across Jamaica. Prime Minister Andrew Holness made the disclosure recently. He says the fund has been increasing its social support to communities, including through the $600 million funding of the Harmony Beach Park development in St. James. As he hailed this and other developments, the Prime Minister rejected assertions that the island was not getting the full benefit of revenues generated from tourism.
They're going to be benefiting directly from the jobs. They're going to be benefiting directly from the consumption of their services, whether it is through the provision of utilities, the provision of furniture, the provision of food and agricultural supplies, or the provision of transportation. And they will also benefit socially by investing in our parks, beautification of our roadways and verges, and in training of our staff.
Meanwhile, in another positive development for tourism, the United States-based Frontier Airlines is now flying to the Sangster International Airport in Montego Bay. The airline made its inaugural flight from Miami, Florida to Sangster on Friday. The flight had 160 passengers and a 6-member flight crew who made the 1 hour and 13-minute historic journey from the U.S. to Jamaica. Frontier Airlines will operate 3 weekly flights between Jamaica and the U.S. The Tourism Ministry says Jamaica has already secured approximately 832,000 airline seats for incoming travelers for the period May through to August 2021. And finally, the Transport Ministry's Road Safety Unit has launched its annual Children Against Reckless Driving or CARD program. The program represents a partnership with Total Jamaica Limited and the National Works Agency. Director of the Island Traffic Authority, Canute Hare, says the Transport Ministry is very pleased with the partnership. Under the program, the Road Safety Unit executes a yearly campaign with Total to educate and empower children across Jamaica, especially at the primary school level, about the need to be safe on the roads. It will involve the refurbishing and construction of several pedestrian crossings at high-traffic areas across the island. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Theodore Henry. Thanks for watching.